I love your glasses.
Right. Thank you. I'm feeling out of practice because I haven't done these in a couple of weeks while I was on vacation. So, you all, I'm back with another amazing human being. And in this episode of Living a Bold Life, I have Amanda Sturner with me, who I will intro in just one moment. But first, welcome, Amanda. I'm so
Thank you.
grateful that you're here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. I want to have some fun.
Yes, we're here to have fun. You doing all right today?
I am doing great. I'm so glad that it's summery weather
I
and
know, right? I'm over
yes.
here like pining for when I can open the windows because I live in Oakhurst. And if anyone who's watching this is not in Charlotte, Oakhurst is a beautiful neighborhood with lots of big oak trees. And I should have taken a picture of what my car looked like when it was parked for 2 weeks on my vacation. Needless to say, no windows will be open for a bit longer.
Yeah, it's intense. This year seems more than normal, but I think I always say that. So,
So we'll wait till we can breathe and my house won't turn yellow.
yeah.
So, if you are new to the series, this is a weekly series where I bring in people in my community, and it's to just have a conversation about a snippet of someone's journey of living a bold life. And if you've watched these before, you have probably gotten the sense that living a bold life might be that leap that you made in the moment. It might be that choice you made in a moment. Living a bold life is whatever you say it is. But I invite people on here who I see showing up, committed to doing the work, taking swings. And to me, that's what living a bold life is. We're just out there showing up, saying, I'm not perfect. I don't know what I'm doing half the time, but here I am. It's meant to empower you, inspire you, and to show you that we've all got so many places that we are similar in this life. And we've all got our own special, unique nuances. So we're just going to play. These aren't scripted conversations. I don't know what Amanda's going to share. So she and I are just going to dance. And whatever platform you're watching this on, you will see the snippet of Amanda, ways to reach her. But after being a wilderness guide for many years, I love that. Amanda is now a mostly civilized life coach and writer. Mostly. Still got that wild wilderness in there.
Yes.
Chasing for wily boys around Charlotte, North Carolina. And she looks for God's magic in the faces of people. Igniting the version of yourself that you like best is Amanda's mission. Enlivening your connection to God and to your own sassy, brilliant soul is our adventure. Let's burst out the polish and get your soul shine on. I love that. That is such a fun write up of yourself
Thanks.
and what you do.
Yeah. Thank you. And it is fun to do.
Yeah, right. Like I think if and Amanda is also a coach, you all. Not everyone I have on here is coaches or even entrepreneurs at that. But I love what you just said because I firmly believe in the work of transformation. If you're not finding a way to make it fun, we are going to quit
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone involved is going to quit. They're just going to back up slowly
and be done.
and be done. Yes. Totally.
Yeah. So, all right, we are going to have some fun. So, as always, I love the first question the most because I have no idea what anyone is going to say. And in keeping in mind, this is a snippet of Amanda's bold journey. You'll have ways that you can follow her and see more than just a snippet. But Amanda, what is one of the boldest moves that you have ever made? And you get to say what bold is. That's not for me to say or anyone else. You get to say. And what's the one that comes up to you in this moment that you want to share now, today?
Well, here's my honest answer, and I do want to say everything that I say will be in integrity. So it might not sound good, it might not be like tangible, but it is from my heart. And so my answer to that question is that I haven't done anything bold. And I know that sounds cuckoo because everybody has, But I was thinking about what have I done that's bold? And I'm just being very truthful when I say I've I've done what I know to do. And
Mhm.
so it doesn't really require the amount of courage that some
Mm.
really bold choices would require. Does that make sense?
It does, and I love it because, one, I know that there are gonna be people out there that relate to this, and two, well, three things. Three, two, no, we're at two, Jen. Two, no one's ever said that before in one of these episodes. So this is fresh material.
Nice.
And the third thing I hear is I actually think it's kind of bold to get on a show called Living a Bold Life and say, I don't see any of the things I've done as bold. They're just what I know to do. That to me takes boldness to actually get on here and say,
Well,
because we could make
it's
it up, right?
funny.
We could just say something.
I know I could make something up, but
Yes, and we'd
if I'm
love
not
it.
being truthful, then it's not gonna work. So I yeah, so I gotta be truthful, and there it is. And I know, like, some of the things that I've done on paper, sure, you could say they're bold. I mean, I've been hit by lightning. I had a bear tear into my tent. I mean, I've moved across country. I've done things that on paper look bold, or they could look bold.
Yeah.
They could certainly be packaged up as bold. Um, but for me, they have not been bold. It's just been following the breadcrumbs. And it didn't take like the risk and leap of faith. It was safe in a very unique way. I know safe is kind of
Yeah.
considered not that great of a word, like don't play safe, but to me, safe is authentic and honest. And so I want to be that way. In fact, I don't feel like I have a choice. And that's probably why it wasn't bold. I didn't really feel like I had a choice. I just knew what was supposed to go down. And so there was no boldness about it.
And that's so fascinating, right? Because I know people are going to be watching this and finding the boldness and the fact that it seems very easeful for you to follow your intuition.
Yeah, it's required. Like I don't have a choice. I really don't. I would be so uncomfortable not following it. I really don't think I could go there. And I wish I could take credit, like, oh, I've done all this work and all that, but I can't take any credit. I think I was just came out of the womb like that. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
I guess it is what it is, but it's definitely fun. And I do enjoy knowing how to tune in and knowing what what to do, what comes next.
So, so let's kind of co-create and play here. Because we want to keep the spirit of the interview authentic for you and give it a place to go. And I don't want to necessarily ask like the rest of the questions if it's going to kind of keep trying to shove you into a box that you're
I
not
mean,
going to be in.
I'm you I'm good with whatever questions. Like if you want to follow the questions, that's totally okay with me. Um and there are times when I've been scared and I've had to endure the scariness.
Mm,
But to me, I guess if I'm defining boldness, it
mhm.
just comes with the territory of being alive. So we all have that. But the other questions, I mean, I can definitely answer them. And boldness is a beautiful word and it's a beautiful verb. So please don't feel like, for me, you have to shut that down. That
Let's
is so admirable. That's everything.
let's kind of play then and just see what happens. This is fun. We're about dancing in the moment, and it's fun that we're both coaches because that's what coaching is all about, right? It's
Right.
dancing in the moment. It's not showing up with the agenda. It's
Right.
being willing to flow with the conversation.
Yes. Amen. And being like, present, which is another word that gets so overused, but
Yep.
showing up.
Yep. Yeah. And I love that too, because what you actually just said is, I think boldness comes with the territory. I think it's a non-negotiable part of the journey. That's actually the point of the series. Is some people, especially not entrepreneurs, and I say that because I think entrepreneurs tend to be more used to putting themselves out there, promoting their business, promoting their
Yeah.
things, having more of an active account maybe. And so sometimes when I invite people who don't have a business and they're like, "You're inviting me to be on your series? Why?" And I'm like, because everybody's bold. Everybody's
Yeah.
bold. And that's why I'm having all kinds of different people on here to show that.
That
And to
is so
show
cool.
like boldness could be, like another, like you just said, for me, I have to own the things I have done came pretty naturally, easily to me. It wasn't super bold. Whereas other people might have done some of the same things as me, and it would have required a lot of boldness for them.
That's right.
I had another coach on here, and I loved what she said, because she showed up and she said, "You know what? I was going to talk about this. And now I've decided I want to talk about it was choosing who to be in that moment last night when I could have just gone off the rails. It wasn't
That's
the
awesome.
leap. It was right now. Who am I going to be? I'm being a jerk to my husband. I'm being a jerk to my
Yeah.
kids."
Oh my gosh. Yes. Hello, COVID life.
Right? Right? I know. I had someone who was like, "I'm going to talk about the COVID pivot." She was like, "I think we're tired of hearing about the COVID pivot." So she started talking about something way, way out of left field.
Yeah.
And so it's so fun how these conversations go. So let's kind of tinker with the next question, Amanda, and just kind of see like how we want to play with this. So the next question I would typically ask is, when push came to shove, what was it that got you to make that move? Because for a lot of people, when they make a move that does require boldness, they normally will get boxed in and I got to do something different. But when I ask that question, like, let's just kind of look at, maybe you feel called to share a different move. Maybe you feel called to share more about your nothing bold. It's just come naturally. Where does intuition or where does spark kind of show up for you if we dance around a little bit and we can
I
retailor
think,
that?
well, I guess what's going through my mind is that something you said about your guest who was like, "I'm not going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about that I was being a jerk to my husband."
Yeah.
You know, I think that question that you just brought up of who are we being? Maybe that maybe is where I'm bold, because that can be
Ah,
hard. If I'm like being a jerk and I have to really see it from a different angle, even though I am 101% sure I am totally right, justified. I have to like get myself to, calm the F down and see it from, just recognize someone else has a different point of view. Oh, and also, do you like who you're being right now? And if the answer
mhm.
is no, oof, that's an ego blow.
Right. Yeah.
It's
I'm glad I
humbling.
shared that. Just a perfect example of how when we dance in the moment, our intuition gets to play together and we get wherever the people are meant to be with us, right?
Yes.
But I love that because I do think all of us, well, no, I don't think I know. All of us know what it feels like to have an ego. All of us know what it feels like to be a human. And, you know, that need to be right. It is a hardwired survival feature that we've gotten from our ancestors. And the willingness to feel unsafe in our space for a moment and say, maybe I'm not right. Maybe there's another way to see it. That can be very unnerving and ungrounding sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it can be, and humbling is what I feel the most, because I'm like, oh man, like, I'm wow, I g- I'm not walking my own talk. How did that happen? I gotta do, walk the talk.
So, Amanda, so knowing that for you, that is a place where it does require some boldness. Um, and there's a reason why, right? There's a reason when push comes to shove that I won't say every time because you're a human. I'll say almost every time. Almost every time you make that choice and you say, who I'm being isn't who I like to be. I'm going to make a choice right now. And I'm hearing some things in there based on what you said about walking the talk, integrity, but I want to hear it in your words because I'll never say it the way you will. What is really that push comes to shove? Like, no, I'm leaning in. I'm going to get bold and courageous, and I'm going to do this.
I think it's the only way out is through. I'm a big believer in that.
Yep.
So a lot of it is that I want to get I want to get out, so I'm gonna go through it. So let me just feel the ick of ew, I don't like who I'm being right now. And I think I have this from my experience as a wilderness guide. I have this experience of knowing and seeing so many people turn from someone that they're kind of like meh about,
Yeah.
or they don't actively really don't like, into this badass hero who lifts up someone that was about to quit, or face plant in the mud, or just, I mean, it's the things that people do when they're rising to the occasion
Mm,
is amazing. And sometimes, especially like during the virtual learning, man, I sucked at that. I was so bad. Like I mean, I could not, like, kindergarten to high school and then 2 in between, and then
mm,
I obviously have my job, and I'm like, "Okay, I wasn't totally prepared for that, commitment of time."
yeah.
Like, "Oh my god, they're not even in school." Like, ah!
Yeah.
To also just having the patience for their attitudes and their require not requirement, but their need, their want of full attention. Then there's 4. So I was really not. I mean, I was terrible. I lost my temper a lot. I was like, guys, I have work to do too. I mean, I found myself saying things where I was like, that is so lame. Who am I being right now? That is just not really, I'm not feeling good about that. So I had to make some I had to get in the habit of making those uncomfortable in the moment adjustments of, okay, I'm really sucking at this. Um, how can I be a mom and a supporter of these kids that I like right now?
Yeah, I love that. And what I love about it is, the elevated way you've spoken about quite a few things is, I don't have a choice. I don't want to be uncomfortable, but we do know you have a choice because a lot of people do choose the discomfort of what's not working.
Yeah.
But you've done what I work with my clients to do, and I assert that you do as well. Because then you said, well, the only way out is through. You've pretty much taken all the other options off the table. They're not available for you anymore. And that's a
Yeah.
powerful place to be. And I love that. And I'm pretty sure you all who've listened to this series have heard me say, based on what guests have said a lot of times, what we resist persists, which is why we lean in, right? But then I love where you said too, it's in all the transformation of people that you've witnessed. Because whether you're a coach, whether you're a guide, I don't know about, well, I do know about you because you said it. So much of my inspiration to keep doing the work isn't just through my own stuff. It's through what I witness the people I'm supporting to do. And they amaze me and they blow me away. And I'm left awestruck. And I'm like, whoa, I got to show up because look at them. Right.
Totally.
And, and I'm
Yes.
not surprised to hear where, you gave these experiences in COVID, because here we are in a global pandemic and you're facing something as a mother that you've never faced before. And so
Yes.
you're noticing more of like our survival based automatic stuff showing up, right? Like I'm
Yes.
not a parent. So when I'm around my 6-year-old niece and nephew, I notice that I'm not saying coach like Jen things. I'm saying things that were said to me when I was a kid. And I'm like, that didn't work. That doesn't work. That will never work. What's happening right now? You don't know what to say because you're not a parent. You're saying like the worst things possible. You need to stop and breathe before you even like chime in over here. Like, what's happening?
Oh my gosh, I got really comfortable with because I said so. Because I said so. And
Right,
after
right,
so many times of saying that, I was like, because that was used with me as a child. And it didn't really work because it felt like a power move. And I
right, right.
was using it as a power move because I'm the boss. So I had to really get into, okay, there's got to be a better way. Like there has to be something different. And there was. It wasn't like a fix all. I mean, but and over and over and over, like I kind of, banged my head on the wall trying to find a better
Yeah.
way. But yes, I mean, it's funny. It's so true. We go back to what we learned, even if it was great as a
Yeah,
kid.
right. Like I was
Back
saying
to
things
that.
like good and bad. I was like, no,
Yeah.
you're an amazing being either way. I've got a good and bad context in here. I've got a right and wrong in here. And I was like, oh my word, like be still. Be still.
Just calm down.
Yeah, but it's amazing when we're, in some new triggers or just something like that, where we go back to, I would say, an inauthentic way of being, because that's more coming from like our autopilot, right? And that's not
Reactive.
authentic.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think our authentic way of being is seeing the best in others.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
when we're treating them like that, like, oh my God, like I don't have time for all this, then we're definitely not seeing the best in them. But it sure strengthened that muscle in me.
yeah,
And
right.
so, oh my God, like the other day, even now, they're in school now. Like one of my kids was like, I hate you. And, part of me was like, but I just went up to him and I gave him a hug and I was like, "Hey, we don't talk like that here." Now that was a good moment. Like that was the way I would pick, right?
Yeah,
So sometimes I strengthened it and now I think I reap some of those benefits. But there
yeah,
were many times and there probably will be in the future when my reaction isn't there's no grace to be found.
yeah, yeah. And we're humans, right? And I love, what you said too, because a lot of times, if I'm working with clients about something like in work or somewhere else, I'm like, practice at home, practice where the gradient's lower. It's all context, right? Like if you can get a breakthrough with how you're being with the kids in a new triggering situation, it's going to morph into all kinds of other magic in your life.
Yeah. Yes. So true. And also so true is that there are a lot of folks who don't really enjoy their kids
Yeah,
for reasons that aren't their own fault.
right.
They're just not in the position. They don't have the either the tools or the life experience or the whatever. It's
Yep.
not their fault. But I feel like that has been my goal from day one. I've just known if I'm enjoying my kids as people, as creatures, then I know things are going well.
Yeah.
So I had to get back to that point, and then the rockiness, it got a lot more stable, thankfully for all of us.
I love that, right? Like essence begets essence. When we relate to people as their essence, we call it
Yes,
forth and things just shift.
yes, so so much. And I wouldn't know to do that had it not been done for me.
Yeah, right?
So it's not about credit, skill, it's about just this is what someone in your life did. So you know it.
I love that. And so, while we may not say you have a formula for living a bold life and continuing to make bold moves, because for you, it doesn't really require that boldness, what I'm imagining is for you to be grounded, for you to be connected to your essence so you can, project your own beauty onto others and have it reflected back and do the work that you do and be present and be mindful. My imagination is there most likely are some things that you have found to be non-negotiable. Like, I really need X, Y, and Z in place to keep showing up as my best, looking for other people's best, letting this be easy, letting this be flowing.
Yes,
For you, Amanda,
totally.
and I know for a lot of us, they might shift by the season, they might shift in our season. So in this moment, what are all or some of those things that you feel called to share with others so they can kind of get an idea of what are some of these things we're doing to keep showing up like this?
Yeah, that's such a good point because you are so right. If I don't do them, the wheels start coming off.
Yeah, for me too.
It's meditation, it's exercise, and it's expression, which is usually
Mm,
writing.
mm.
Oh, and there's a fourth. I have to have connection to the outdoors. I've got to get outside and not just like throwing the ball outside, but like I have to go listen to the trees. I have to go put my hands on grass. I got to hear the hawk. Like I have to be fully there. And sometimes that means I can't have anybody with me,
Yeah,
but I have to do that.
yeah, yeah. I love that. So you've all probably heard quite a few of these before from other guests. This is where we have a lot of similarities, but this is, I think, where we also want to honor our differences. You guys have heard me talk about meditation a lot. Remember, that clears your cache. That clears your cache. We want to be meditating. Exercise. Don't get stuck on what Amanda's doing or what I'm doing. This is where exercise is going to look different for everybody. But I think at the end of the day, it's just about getting in your body. We try to check out and get in here, and we don't want to do that. We want to get back in here, right? So exercise gets us in our body. It releases endorphins. It's good for us. I love that you said expression. So you all, if yours isn't writing, is it dancing? Is it, doing a video? There are so many ways that you can express, and you can do it in your way. But we're meant to express. I love connection to nature. That's mine too. I need to be out in nature. When I'm not, I've got real plants in the house. They require a lot of work, but I can't do the fake. I need to be able, touch her leaves,
Yeah.
water them, engage with them.
Yeah.
And, I mean, anyone watching this who's been following me has seen all I'm doing with the moon and the seasons. So obviously connection to nature. Those are great. Thank you for sharing these, Amanda, because what I really love about them is through the series, my guests are starting to normalize that self-care is sacred and a responsibility. And we're
Yes.
just overwriting that story of it being selfish.
Yeah.
What a dirty
It's
little lie.
oh my gosh, it couldn't be it's the opposite of selfish because if I don't do those things, then I'm not gonna show up as someone anyone wants to be around.
Right? I mean, what I noticed when I was traveling for 2 weeks in Minnesota, I still did as much of my routine as I could. But, when you're away for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
you lose some, you're eating differently, all of it. Ooh, whenever I witness myself do mindset work, when my being is a bit out, it's really, really challenging for me.
Mindset work, like thinking
Like
about,
choosing who I want to be,
got it.
like, do I like who I'm being? I might get stuck in the upset of, no, I don't. And now I'm stuck not liking it. Or who do I choose to be? Well, I know who I want to be, but I don't have access to that choice. Not right now.
Or I would be that if it weren't for all these other people that
Right, right,
that.
right. Yeah, like I lose my altitude, I lose my choosing, and I'm just like, I'm
Yeah.
really emotional. Help!
Yeah.
I'm stuck here.
Totally. Yes. It is so true. And it really, it doesn't, it's not like it takes that much time. I
Right?
mean, right, right.
Yeah, and you all, this is where, when you hear things like meditation, exercise, express, connect with nature, consider that you get to say how much time it takes. Maybe it's 5 minutes, like play a game you can win at. Because when you play a game you can win at, you're going to keep playing bigger games because you're winning. Don't try to do an hour of it every day, right? If you're trying to do that for 4 hours a day, that might be a little challenging.
Right. So true.
Oh, I love that. So beautiful. Thank you for sharing the ones that are true for you. Um, and thank you for normalizing the non-negotiableness of self-care and self-love and connecting to the divine. I consider all of those to be connecting to the divine.
100%.
So you're filling your cup up from that infinite cup that we draw from.
Yep. And then it just,
Yeah.
everybody gets more.
Yeah, right. Like, I like to think about the oxygen mask, right? Like, if you are
Yeah.
running around with an empty cup, how do you be that mom you're committed to being? How do you be that coach you're committed to being?
Right. Yep.
I love that. And so, I'm thinking, do I want to ask that question the same, or do I want to tweak it a little bit since Amanda and I are doing something different?
Well, I
Um,
actually have a thought that I'll throw out there.
yeah,
We can go with it or not.
yeah.
There has been something that is, I don't, it's been uncomfortable, but I've known what to do. So I don't know if I could count it as boldness,
Yeah.
but it's been an interesting theme and a really conscious choice that I've made despite lots of like blowback about how it's wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
So we
Well,
could go
and
there or we could go somewhere else.
let me see. Yeah, if that's what you feel called to share, let's just kind of look at that, because the next question I was actually going to say, if you didn't make that particular move, where might you be? And I do think that going against the grain, and I think it can be incredibly challenging when everyone's getting in our ear, like, you should do this. This is the right way. I think it can be incredibly bold to tune that out and say, I'm going to honor my truth and my path.
Yeah. So the question was, what would have happened if you hadn't done that thing?
Or, yeah, where do you think you'd be? Because, it's kind of in alignment with
Yeah.
what you shared earlier. When you said, choosing who you get to be, asking if you like yourself, because in that moment, you're probably having that conversation of, do I want to be the one who listens to what everyone says? Or do I want to be authentic and my own drummer?
Yeah.
So that,
Totally.
to me, I kind of see it as same veins. So yeah, what is that thing, Amanda?
I think you know that expression, comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that if I hadn't gone through um the the icky feelings of how bad I was at being a virtual learning manager, if I hadn't gone through that, and other times too, when I'm like, okay, this is not who I want to be. It's really uncomfortable, but I'm going to go through it so that I can get out of here. Then I wouldn't have that golden gift of being comfortable in my own skin. I don't know where I'd be. Probably lost somewhere in like Kansas or something. I just think that's so core to knowing who you are, being in tune with your inner compass, I don't know. I have no clue, but it would not be good.
Yeah, and that's one of those hypothetical things where we can never answer. Some of us might say, well, life would still be good, but it would be a different path. And then some people are like, life would not be good at all. I don't know where I'd be. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm just imagining what I feel like when I'm not in my own skin. And it's no way I want to live. That's what I know.
It's too high of a price to pay.
Yeah. Yeah. It just, it makes me want to like move around and try to fit in my skin, right? Like, yeah.
Yes. Yes, totally. And if I had not done those things, then I don't think I'd know who I am, and I think I would be, yeah, just not I don't I think I'd be pretty lost.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe not on the surface, like things would look the same,
Right.
but they wouldn't be the same.
Yeah. And I think, that's what we hit on a lot of these conversations, right? Is we're not looking like necessarily for the surface stuff to shift. Because we as coaches see the people with the well over 6-figure jobs, with the family image that they had with the house, and there's still that thing missing, which is when a lot of
Yes.
overachieving go-getters get coaches. I
Yes.
have all the
Totally.
things and it's not enough.
Right. Right. Because it was never about a thing.
Right, right, right. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And I'm glad you shared that because that is very bold to go against the grain, to go against all the programming, right? Like right, wrong, should, shouldn't. Like that's a lot of programming to move through.
Yeah. Yep.
So you can
And I
get
think
out of the programming and into that divine blueprint.
yes. Yeah, perfectly said.
I love that. This was fun. I feel like you surprised me, and that was really fun because we got to dance in the moment in a bigger way, and kind of, and again, these conversations are to just illustrate what things are to us, and I think this is a beautiful one because I have had people before say, I don't think I've done anything bold, and so I love what you just shared because I think you're going to speak to those types of listeners and you know we always have people that resonate with our vibe and where we are and what we think and what we see, and so just like every other guest, everything that happened and transpired has been gold, gold, gold. I love this because someone could watch the whole thing or a snippet of it and they could take away things into their own life to think about, to practice something.
Totally.
But if you were going to leave the listeners with one piece of sage wisdom, and it might be something you've already said that you just want to bring it home again, or it may be in the moment something else is coming to you, but what would be that wisdom? And for you, it's really about constantly being bold enough to acknowledge, I don't like who I'm being right now. Who do I get to be? And it's about just this example you're setting of showing up and walking the talk, which might
Yeah.
not be bold for you, but for a lot of people watching, it is.
Yeah, totally. And I think the wisdom I would say or leave or dole out, whatever, is if when you're feeling lost and disoriented, look for the best and the light in someone else, and you will on a dime find who you are again. The worst thing you can do is focus on yourself.
Yeah, I love that. We very popular things that reminds me of like when in doubt, serve out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know in coaching a lot of times too, we would do a lot of work on for me personally, I had to learn the difference between introversion and charging my batteries and going off on my own and going down that spiral. Because then
Yeah.
when I wasn't with people, I couldn't get my loveliness reflected back at me. I was just alone with
Uh,
my shadow.
yeah.
So
Yep.
I love that. I love that. And it's part of the reason why I'm doing this series. It's part of the reason why I've moved so community. Yeah, and it's that essence that we talk about. Essence begets essence.
Yes, it does.
And what a fun practice to just practice looking around and seeing that essence in everyone and everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's everything that I think people want in life. You
Yeah,
feel humble, you're in awe, you're grateful.
yeah,
It's the beauty and grace of divinity.
yeah.
So, it's a win-win. Win-win-win-win.
I love that. So you all, if you're feeling lost and or disoriented, look for the best in the light in someone else and you will get it reflected back to you. Stay open to receiving the reflection. And once again, the information about Amanda is going to be down in the verbiage on wherever you're watching this. There'll be ways to connect with her. Take out something and implement it in your life if that would support you. And as always, these conversations can be very permission giving. So if you're watching this and thinking, oh my gosh, so and so needs to hear this message, share it. There is so much healing on the planet when people share their own story, when we listen to other people share. Because again, we're all different, but we're all pretty damn similar as well. And so let's just keep the love going viral.
Amen to that.
Yeah. And Amanda, thank you so much for being a yes to this interview and to being my guest. And so
Oh, thank
grateful
you
to
for
have you.
having me. It's really nice to see your face, even if only virtually,
I
and
know,
hear
I
your
know.
voice and talk with you.
And you all will be back for another episode next week. Where we'll go in the conversation, who knows? That's the fun of it. And I will see you then.